Good morning, everyone. It is my final consecutive streaming day of the week, and on today's show, we've got big game news, including updates for Starfield, but also a hugely controversial story regarding the game development engine Unity. All this and more on today's show. Alrighty, everybody, welcome to the show. It is my final streaming day of the week before my day off tomorrow, and then we head into tons of huge game releases next week. I don't know if you guys are aware, 2 big game releases coming up next week, which we'll talk about in a moment. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Level 1 Podcast. Today is Wednesday, the 13th of September, 2023. Middle of the week. For me, it's my last streaming day of the week. For many, it's hump day. But I don't really have a hump day that much anymore. It doesn't really feel like that to me because I love doing what I do. When I'm halfway through, it feels like we are cruising into the second half of the week, you know. So, I hope that you are all well. I hope that you are ready for a fun, full gameplay streaming day here on DSPGaming as we continue on with my many endeavors. Starfield, Street Fighter 6, good stuff coming up. We'll talk about that in a moment, what you can expect. Today we have tons of news. We've got Apple and their huge event from yesterday covering their new line of products, which was almost laughable. Let me just put it this way. When you're doing your annual big day of the launch of your new product and your stock drops, I think that's representative of the market's reaction to you and your product. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about that. In addition, some positive updates regarding Starfield, which is a good thing, but also the big news, the big story everyone has been talking about in the last 24 hours. The incredibly controversial announcement by Unity, which is one of the major game engines that games use to develop their products. These game developers usually use things like the Unreal Engine, the Unity engine, or a proprietary engine that they own. Well, these changes, if left standing the way that they have been announced, may unprecedentedly change the face of game development. There may be game developers that go out of business. There may be game developers who, based on this pricing structure, may actually quit Unity altogether and try to move their games to another engine, which is huge. We're going to talk, wait till you just hear this change and all the games that will be affected by it. It's a pretty ginormous story. There's game developers pretty much freaking out across the board, as well as publishers. So it's a very story. We'll cover this in depth, okay? So there you have it. A lot of news to cover today on the show. I would argue that the news segment will likely be like the major component of today's podcast, okay? So thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the show. If you're not in a good mood today, hopefully I'll entertain you, inform you, and put you in a good mood. It is my final streaming day of the week. Great week this week. We made great progress finishing up Armored Core 6 and getting to the very end of Chrono Trigger. One more stream and we have finished Chrono Trigger now. So this was a great week where not only did we make great progress in Starfield, but we also kind of wrapped up the summertime projects and things that I've been doing for a while to allow us to head into new stuff next week. Because with 2 big new releases next week, the last thing that I wanted was to have ginormous amounts of lingering playthroughs. So I'm glad that we are wrapping up all these kind of lingering playthroughs. Just a quick reminder, I always do shout outs for contributions and interaction and Q&A with the audience at the end of the show. Some people are kind of joining. There was a big Member Bomb, thank you for that. Tractor D, and a few other people trying to say hello. What's going on, everyone? But I got to get through all my topics before we get to that, all right? So, good stuff all around this week. Yesterday was Chill RPG Day here on DSPGaming. Great progress in Starfield. We ended up doing a bunch of missions and wrapping them up in Neon. And then we continued on with the Freestar Collective quest line, going to various different locations in the galaxy, solving mysteries, tracking down fugitives, and doing all kinds of fun stuff there. Actually ended up doing a lot of combat yesterday, which some people have said it seems like Starfield's light on the combat. I don't think so. I just think that Starfield is a game where you can get so immersed in the narrative that you end up doing the narrative for multiple streams and days, and you don't realize, oh crap, I haven't fought in a while, right? So in this case, yesterday, we had a lot of combat, various different places we were going, we were fighting and looting and stuff, and that was fun. Actually leveled up my lockpicking. Now I'm a master locksmith, which is great. I can open all the locks in the game now, and we'll see how it goes today as we continue on. But it was a great stream yesterday, great progress, and I really enjoyed it. I'll also say that definitely people who were here yesterday were way more engaged. When I played Starfield on Sunday night, I hate to say it, the audience was completely disengaged, basically not even paying attention to the game, nor talking about it, or even engaging me. Yesterday was different. Yesterday we had fun conversation. It was a good time playing Starfield with you guys, okay? Last night on the late stream, it was the end game of Chrono Trigger. Now, we could have beaten Chrono Trigger 2 streams ago, but people had a desire to see me play this Lost Sanctum additional content that was added for the Nintendo DS version of the game. So we did it, and it took 4 hours to get through it, but we got through it, and not only did we level up all the characters to the point where everyone has learned their most powerful techniques, but they also learned all of their triple techs. So I know every crossover technique and everything in the game, which is obviously good for the end game, and we ended up getting some really good, powerful items as well by the end there. So good armor, everything really good, now preparing for the end game. So last night was a nice chill stream. Great audience. Again, people were engaging. We were talking. We were having a good time while I was doing a lot of the backtracking of the Lost Sanctum, because those Lost Sanctum quests, do they pay off in the end? They do. They give you great gear, but man, they're just not that entertaining. Like, being honest, they're pretty boring because there's so much backtracking. So it was good to have fun conversation with an audience while I was playing it. If I was just playing that for myself, I probably would have been bored to tears. Because I had you guys with me, it was still pretty fun. So it was definitely a good stream last night. Yesterday, RPG Day went very well. No complaints. Support was good as well on both streams. So great day overall. All right. So let's talk about the schedule now for this next week, because this is going to be an exciting schedule for sure. So first of all, today we continue on with Starfield. And my goal for today, I don't know if it's possible, but I think it might be, is to finish up the Freestar Collective faction quest line. If you look, we've probably done Freestar Collective missions for like 5-6 hours. So I'm hoping we can maybe wrap it up. And now I don't know what happens when you finish it. What I do know, because my wife has been playing Starfield way more than me, I do know that basically when you finish the faction quest lines in this game, you get good rewards. Like she said, she's finished up at least 2 or 3 factions, and every reward she's gotten, she's loved. She's been pleased with every single one. So it makes sense. Like, wow, okay, you're going to invest that enough time in a faction. You want to get a good reward for it. Also, the factions in Starfield are more like the factions in Elder Scrolls rather than the factions in Fallout. And what that means is you can essentially do every faction to its conclusion, and it doesn't impede upon the other factions. So just because I'm friendly with the Freestar Collective doesn't mean now I can't go do the UC, or I can't go do another faction. You see, that's a good thing, obviously. So, this should be fun. Today, trying to finish Freestar Collective, see what I get as my reward, and then move on from there. What do we want to do next? Do we want to do another faction? Because I think we have 2 other factions we could do right now. Or do we want to go back to Constellation questing for a little bit, since that's the main plot? Or do we want to do side questing? Let's see what happens. But it should be a good time, okay? Late stream tonight, Street Fighter 6. Now, admittedly, this will be the last Street Fighter 6 stream for a bit, because next week we're focusing on Mortal Kombat 1. And when Mortal Kombat 1 comes out, basically I want to get through that story the first week. Story of Mortal Kombat 1 is reportedly around 8 hours long. Once we're through the story, I want to check out the other mode called Invasion, which is a brand new single player mode added for the game. It used to be called Crypt, but they got rid of the whole Crypt concept, redesigned it, and now this Invasion is supposed to be the replacement for those who want to play the game in a single player capacity. So that's going to be my focus, is story and Invasion. With all that Mortal Kombat gameplay next week, likely no one's going to want to be clamoring for Street Fighter gameplay. So we're probably going to give Street Fighter a rest next week and then bring it back into the fold for like the end of the month, okay? Especially because at the end of the month, if you're not aware, the next DLC character, Aki, releases. Now, I don't know if I'm going to like that character or not, but I'm going to at least give her a shot, okay? So, with all that being said, tonight is kind of the season finale, if you want to say, of Street Fighter 6, where we kind of, after this, when I start playing it again at the end of the month, likely it'll feel like it's the fall gaming season. It'll be a little different, right? Season finale tonight is more Lily ranked in Street Fighter 6. Now, I used her twice this week so far. The first session, I had a lot of success. The last session, not so much, although I did have a winning record. It got a lot harder. Why? Because Lily is arguably the worst character in the game. She just does not have the tools, the speed, the priority, and the combo ability to really excel against a cast of characters who pretty much at any moment, when they get one hit, could do a ginormous combo. She can't always do that. She has tons of problems getting out of the corner. A lot of her good strategies are reliant on throw mix-ups, which people can simply just jump out of. So, honestly, she's just not that good. I like the character. She's unique. And she plays nothing like any other character I can even say. But someone say, oh, T-Hawk. She really doesn't play like T-Hawk did in old Street Fighter games. She's just different. And I do enjoy oddball style characters. But it's going to be a rough climb. Last time around, I think I had like a 54% win-loss ratio. As we climb higher, I wouldn't be surprised if I end up having losing nights. All right? We'll see how it goes tonight. We're only a few match sets away from hitting 3-star diamond and then continuing on. Let's see how it goes tonight and go from there. But, I'm not feeling ultra positive about it. But I want to at least see how far I can get before we kind of give it a break for about a week. Okay? So that's today's streams. Tomorrow I'm off. No streaming tomorrow. It's my day off. I hope you have a safe and fun day. I'll be having a more relaxed day at home. Last week we had a very hectic day out where we were doing a lot of stuff. We were celebrating my wife's birthday. This week, it's more of a kind of a stay-at-home week, although I will be going out to run errands and the like. It won't be a crazy busy day. And so, when I return on Friday, it is Mortal Friday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Mortal Kombat 1 begins for me this coming Friday. I'm actually going to buy the game and install it tonight to get it preloaded for Friday. All we're doing Friday, all right, is the story. I feel like we should really focus in on the story and get as far as we can. The story is 8 hours long. Well, if we play all day Friday, that'll be 5 hours into the story, right? That'll be a good chunk. So I think that's what we should do. Do a nice giant story chunk on Friday and test out the game, see what the story's all about, and go from there, okay? So Mortal Friday. I hope you'll join me on Friday, September 15th for the beginning of Mortal Kombat 1 coverage. Then on Saturday the 16th, it'll be more Mortal Kombat 1 on the day stream, maybe even the conclusion of the story, depending on how things go. We might wrap it up that day. Then Saturday night will be the conclusion of Chrono Trigger. So we're going to be doing the Black Omen final dungeon and the final boss. The whole segment will probably take about an hour to an hour and a half to see the end of the game. And that should be fun. I hope you guys will join me for the conclusion of the epic JRPG playthrough this coming Saturday night. Sunday is React Day. So we're going to do DSP versus the Internet on DSP Reacts. And then Sunday night, we'll do more Mortal Kombat 1. But this time around, if we need to finish the story, we'll do that. If we already have, we'll check out Invasion Mode for the very first time, which will be very exciting to see what is Invasion Mode, right? Monday, depending on how the Mortal Kombat coverage is gone, I might do Mortal Kombat as the day stream or the night stream. And then we're going to balance that with Starfield. All right, so Starfield will be played on Monday, either as the main stream or the night stream, and then Mortal Kombat will be the other stream. And then starting Tuesday is another new release, Lies of P. This is the game that plays apparently very similarly to Bloodborne. And we've seen a lot about this game over the course of this year. It's a Game Pass game. So I'm checking it out on Tuesday the 19th when it comes out. Will it be good? Will it suck? I don't know. I'd like to see for myself. And the only way I'm really going to know is if I play it and try it out off of Game Pass, so why wouldn't I? So what I might do is play it all day. I might play it the entire day of Tuesday just to get a good tear into it and really see what I think about it and judge if it's a game that I want to continue to play, or after that first session, maybe it's not so good. It's more of a knockoff and I don't really like it as much. And then, of course, that Wednesday will be completely up in the air. Do we want more Mortal Kombat 1, more Lies of P, more Starfield? We'll leave it in the hands of chance, in the hands of, the audience, what you guys want. We'll see what you guys like more over the course of the week, okay? So as you see, literally no time for Street Fighter 6 next week, and that's okay. Let's give Street Fighter 6 a break next week, and then when we come back the week after, we will reintegrate it into the schedule, especially because, like I said, the end of the month, I think it's the 27th, is when Aki, the next DLC character, comes out, and I definitely want to check her out, okay? So it should be pretty good, and it should be a fun week coming up. 2 new releases, more Starfield, React Fun, good stuff, and of course the conclusion of Chrono Trigger. Great mix of stuff, okay? So there you go. Now, before we get into the ginormous news segment, because we got big news stories to talk about today, I would just like to remind everyone, I am an independent content creator. I'm not signed with anyone. I don't take sponsorships. I don't take partnerships. I don't have giant ad placements. Essentially, I'm in it to make content that I feel is transparent, honest, and fun for my audience. I never sold out. You don't see, paid promotion warning in the corner of my content. You don't see 400 ad breaks during my streams. That's on purpose, okay? It's done because I want you guys to enjoy the content and not feel like I'm a shill, because I'm not. I never want to be a shill sitting here just advertising to you all day long. I'm in it for making meaningful content for my audience. Admittedly, most of YouTube has changed over the years, and they've gone to that model, and I have not. The reason I'm able to not have to do that is because of you. Because you guys have crowd-funded my efforts to stay independent for the last 15 years. If it weren't for you in the last 6+ years supporting my change to being a full-time streamer and now a full-time YouTuber, none of this would have been possible. I enjoy making curated style content for an audience that enjoys it. I don't have to worry about having mainstream attention and viral views because I have an audience that's engaged enough that they love my content and they want it to continue, so they support it. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for allowing me to continue to be successful. That being said, if you enjoy the content that I put out and you like the fact and appreciate the fact that I haven't become a shill and you like this kind of, style, please support it. So allow me to outline the ways that you can do that. Number 1, engagement, which is very important on YouTube and key to success. Liking a stream or liking a video that you're watching and actually enjoying. Leaving a comment on a video. Leaving engagement, talking with me on a stream. This stuff adds to the whole algorithm and allows you to be found better on YouTube. You'll show up more in the search priority. You'll show up more in related videos. So thank you to those who do engage with my content. I really, really appreciate that. Okay? Outside of that, if you want to go above and beyond in some way, there are many ways that you can support my efforts. Number 1, a super chat or a super sticker during a live stream, or a super thanks on an on-demand video that is eligible. And the reason I say that, not every on-demand video is eligible. It has to be a video that's been monetized and not claimed by a third party. Memberships or gifted memberships, especially this time of year as we are now heading into the very busy gaming season. Mortal Kombat 1, Lies of P, Street Fighter 6 DLC, Assassin's Creed Mirage. And that's just the things in the next 2 weeks. And then after that, we have tons more coming up in the month of October and that. People would be very happy to have a membership right now because you get so many benefits. You get highlighted messages, all right, when you leave a comment on a video. You get a chat crown badge to show how long you've been a supporter. You don't have to abide by the slow mode rules of the chat when you're here on a live stream. You can talk as much as you want. You get access to all of my emotes, of which there's a ridiculous amount because at one point I had over 1,000 members, right? So because of that, there's tons and tons of emotes that you can use in my content. Very nice. In addition to that, when you're a member, you get priority for special events. For example, in October, I will be doing a Halloween marathon. We do this every year annually. It's a great time. I dress up. We have food. We play a variety of horror games. So, when you're a member, you will have priority to nominate and vote on what horror-themed games you'd like to see me play for that Halloween marathon. So there you go. I think it would be a great time to become a member if you're not, or if you're someone who wants to support my content here on YouTube, you can help the community out by gifting memberships to the community members. It's called a membership bomb, and you can do it at any point here on a live stream. So thanks in advance to anyone who does that. In fact, Tractor D dropped a membership bomb earlier, and I'll be shouting that out in a moment once I get to the shout outs at the end of the show to give thanks for that, okay? And then, of course, the last and certainly not least way that you can support my streams is tipping. When you tip, you're essentially sending a direct contribution to my PayPal. This really helps out. And there's really a few reasons why this helps out a lot. Number one, I get it immediately. When you tip me, I see it right now. I can use it for something important. It doesn't get lagged up. There's no processing time. It's immediate funds, okay? Number two, I get more of a cut of tips than most other contribution methods. Everything else has a middleman, has a big percent taken out. With PayPal, I get the most out of it, all right? So, huge benefits to doing tipping, and because of that, I actually have rewards, $50, $100, and $150 raised on any particular stream. I do something silly, like I'll put on a pair of glasses, I'll toss on a hat of your choice or a silly vest you vote for. So it's just a way of saying thanks. It's not a big thing. People aren't really contributing to see those things, but it's just a silly way to say, hey, thanks, incremental rewards for doing those, okay? So, thank you in advance for all support. And basically, my goals for this week were as follows. Number one, hit 600 members by the end of the week. Well, guess what? I've done that. We're already at the 630 and climbing. We're almost at 650. If we hit 650 today, that means I exceeded my goal for the month. So that's excellent, okay? Or for the month, I say, for the week. So let's see what happens. Now, in addition, my other goal was to hit one $50 tips goal a day. Just one. I streamed twice, so I have 2 chances to hit it. And I tell you, I've done it every day this week. Amazing. So thank you guys. You've been very supportive this week. I am greatly appreciative of your support this week. Really, I am. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can keep that pattern rolling today. And thanks in advance one more time for any support. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for DSP News. All right. So, let's get into it because we got a lot of news to talk about today. All right. Let's do the shortest story first. Actually, there's 2 really short stories here. Story number 1 is in regard to Mortal Kombat 1. So let's just get this out of the way. There was an official announcement from Mortal Kombat 1's social media account yesterday, and it's a follow-up to a story I had a few days ago. If you remember, a few days ago I said, in a mysterious move, all of the listings of Mortal Kombat 1 everywhere, even on the Steam page everywhere, have removed the reference for crossplay. And this is really odd, because they were touting that they were going to have crossplay at some point, so it didn't matter what platform you bought the game on, you were going to be able to play against the maximum player base. But then they stopped talking about it, and then they never mentioned it, and then they removed it from every listing. So it was like, what on earth is going on with that? So the Mortal Kombat 1 social media account posted the following yesterday. Launch is just around the corner. We can't wait for everyone to sink their teeth into hashtag MK1. Regarding cross-play, which they spell with a K, because they think it's clever to spell everything with a K because of Mortal Kombat with a K, get it? It will not be available at launch, but no, we are hard at work implementing the feature into the game, and it will be coming with another K post-launch. So, at least they are acknowledging the fact that it's not there at launch, and that people still want it, and for some odd reason, it's not there. Alright? That's good that they acknowledged it, because removing it from everywhere was very suspect, and a lot of people were wondering, did this mean that it's just never coming? And that would not obviously be good. But no, it does seem like it is coming now. But it might, I mean, it's indefinite. Like, we don't know when it's actually coming. What if it takes 6 months? What if it takes a year? Now, I said this with my previous coverage of this story. Mortal Kombat games at launch get a lot of hype. Everyone talks about the story and the offline, then they jump online and you have tournaments like for a couple months. But within like 6 months of a Mortal Kombat game coming out, it pretty much dies. You don't hear that much anymore about it. it doesn't get as much hype. Sadly, Mortal Kombat never gets the competitive coverage of, say, Street Fighter or Tekken. It's kind of like the third or fourth place game when it comes to tournaments. So if crossplay doesn't come within the next couple of months, I don't see why anyone would care. The game's hype will be fizzled out and dead within 6 to 8 months. So let's say they add crossplay for EVO next year. We'll be like, who gives a shit? You know? So they better hurry up. Hopefully it's coming with a K, but it's not here yet. So let's hope it will be coming soon. Now, Starfield has a positive update. You ready for this? Starfield has acknowledged, and when I say Starfield, I mean, again, Bethesda Studios' social media account. They've acknowledged that this game launched with a bunch of shortcomings. And so they made an announcement this morning that after the initial patches that essentially will fix like game bugs and things like that that need to be fixed right away, their first real content update patch will include the following: brightness and contrast controls, an HDR calibration menu, a field of view slider, NVIDIA DLSS support for PC, 32:9 ultra-wide monitor support for PC, and an eat button for food. So, what does that mean? Well, you may not have noticed, there's zero adjustments for brightness, HDR, or anything in the game. It's just, well, what you see is what you get. Can you name a video game that didn't have brightness adjustments in the last 10 years? They all do. This one, for some odd reason, doesn't. A game 7 years in development, they didn't figure out they needed a brightness slider. I mean, okay, Bethesda, whatever you say. People on PC have been complaining about the PC performance and the lack of support for that in NVIDIA DLSS. I don't actually know what it is, but they've been complaining about it. And the E button for food essentially is supposed to be that basically when you see food in the environment, all you gotta do is mash a button and you just eat it automatically to gain some health back. Because right now, you gotta pick up the food item, put it in your inventory, access your inventory, and click on every fucking food item manually to eat. It's obvious that's not what was intended. They wanted you to just quickly scarf items to get your health back on the fly, and there's no way to do that. Again, it seems like it's an unfinished game mechanic, so apparently they're going to finish that game mechanic. Okay? So now food will actually have a purpose, because right now it really doesn't have a purpose besides crafting of meals. All those little instant food items and things you find in the environment are completely worthless. It takes too much time to gather them and eat them manually out of your inventory, so most people are just ignoring them. Well, now you'll have a reason to eat them. Okay? So, that's coming. When? Don't know. They did say that they are going to be working on this as the first major patch. They also say that they are working on stability and performance improvements for PC specifically because people have been complaining about crashes and problems. And lastly, they're going to start built-in mod support for creation similar to what they did with Fallout 4, which is great. If you remember, Fallout 4 had ginormous amounts of mods and content that was supported. That was excellent that happened, and I hope that continues, because that would be great. Imagine 6 months down the line, you go to play Starfield, the whole game's modded with silly shit. That's going to be fun, okay? So, all that's coming for Starfield. If you're interested in Starfield, this is good news for you. PlayStation Plus announced their new games catalog for September, launching, I think, like right now. It includes Nier Replicant, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, Sid Meier's Civilization 6, and Unpacking. It also does feature a few other games that aren't as notable, but if you're interested in any of those games, if you're a PS Plus subscriber, you're going to get access to those games in the month of September, FYI. Here's a big one. Nintendo has announced a Nintendo Direct. Everyone was speculating there would be a Nintendo Direct this week. Well, it's tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Guess who'll be asleep tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific time, because it's my day off, and I wouldn't get up for 7 a.m. for Nintendo regardless. But I will do my best to catch up on this Nintendo Direct tomorrow on my day off, so I can cover it on Friday's Level 1 podcast. We don't know what it's going to be. All they've said is a 40-minute long Direct featuring information focused on Nintendo Switch games releasing over the fall and winter seasons. So basically a ginormously long presentation covering a ton of information. Okay, that's good. So we'll learn a lot more about Nintendo stuff coming up very soon tomorrow, and then I'll be covering that for you guys on Friday. Okay? All right. We're almost to our big news story, by the way. Almost. We're not there yet. That Unity news story is coming. It's the hugest news everyone's talking about, okay? iPhone. You phone, we all phone for Apple phones. Now, Apple had its big yearly annual presentation of products yesterday. During that presentation, they presented multiple new lines of the iPhone, including iPhone 15, like standard, Pro, Max, Double Max, Triple XL, and then Magnum. Okay, I made up some of those. But basically, they have like 4 to 5 new models of iPhone coming out right now. Supposedly, it's pre-order. It's available within like a week. Now, just who don't know, these crazy idiots run out and they buy them all up for like the first month. But then usually within a month to 2 months, they're widely available everywhere. Every store will have them. Every cell phone place will have them. So you probably can't get it on launch day unless you're a nut job. But you could probably get it within a month or two. Okay? So what's the big thing? What's the big announcement about Apple's iPhones? Well, the reason I'm really covering it today is because it was announced. Listen to this. The new iPhone models will have an A17 Pro chip. This chip is going to allow iPhones to play certain actual full-fledged video games at partial to full capacity. One of the games announced, Resident Evil Village. Another game announced, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Okay, another game announced, Assassin's Creed Mirage. And this is going pretty crazy. These games they're announcing, like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, they're basically saying these are console versions of these games are going to be able to be played on your iPhone. Now, before you jump the gun and you say, now, wait a minute. I've got a console and a TV or a PC. Why the hell do I want to play a modern gen game with amazing graphics on my tiny iPhone screen? Fair enough, that would be a pretty stupid thing to do when you could probably enjoy the experience better in your living room with your TV, maybe surround sound. It doesn't really make sense, right? That's correct. Essentially what Apple is trying to do, all right, in other words, they want to make your iPhone into a Steam Deck. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They want you to have your iPhone plugged into a bunch of peripherals and turn it into a gaming console. Now, this is the first time Apple has ever attempted anything like this. The question is, will this actually work? Because there's so many questions, really, that have to be posed when you're talking about something like this. Just a few off the top of my head, okay? Will this thing run only when plugged into the wall? Or will it have to have a really great battery? Because, for example, a laptop running high-end games needs to be plugged into a direct power source. If you try to run it off a battery, it gets decreased performance. So can you imagine trying to play Resident Evil 4 Remake at top-level gameplay with ray tracing and everything that they're claiming it has, but you're running it off a cell phone battery? Do you really think that's going to last very long or work very well? Probably not, right? Number two, what about cooling? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. This little sucker gets hot. If you're just sitting there doing things for a while, if you're on a phone call, if you're playing a mobile game, this thing can heat up. Now imagine you're trying to actually play a full-fledged 1080p full ray tracing game on this sucker for hours. This thing's going to heat up tremendously. Are you aware of it having a cooling fan on it? Or anything like that? So, it's kind of interesting to me because it seems like what they're trying to do here is compete with Steam Deck. Like, they feel, oh man, we lost the gaming wars. But now we have to get back in line, so how can we do that? Let's put a better processor in this thing that can handle ray tracing and real graphics. That's great, but what about all the other components, right? Like, do I really want to buy the new iPhone and take the chance of turning this thing into a gaming console and then the fucking thing fries? It's a fucking iPhone. You know how much an iPhone costs? The cheapest model is $800. The big one, the one that they're claiming you really want to play the game on because it'll be full 1080p 60 frames, is like $1,300 USD. Do you really want to gamble with your $1,300 phone to play Resident Evil on it? I'm just saying, it seems like they are way early on this. Like, maybe 2-3 more gens down the line, if technology advanced more, if it had more like stable cooling without having active fans and things, and they could find a way to make these things not heat, then maybe this would make sense. But I don't know if I want to buy a top of the end phone and then fry the goddamn thing playing Resident Evil, and now I have no phone and I'm out $1,300, right? I don't know. This just seems like a bad idea. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, you don't know. What if these things end up being so crazy good, right? They really advance technology. Then that's one thing. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't seen Apple advance technology in about 10 years. Because if you look at the other features of the iPhone 15, well, let's see. They claim it's a better camera. The fucking camera hasn't been better in ages. Who cares? How many fucking lenses on your phone and cameras do you need? It's going to be the same shit no matter what. All right, so it's not going to really improve. No one's asking for a better camera on the iPhone regardless at this point. They're also claiming, oh, finally we're using USB-C. And it's like, yeah, you want to know why you're doing that? Why did they get rid of the fire adapter cable? Here it is. Why did they get rid of this stupid proprietary cable? And why are they adapting USB-C? Do you want to know why? Because Europe outlawed this cable. Europe said, enough of this bullshit, of this proprietary nonsense that everyone has to go drop money on. Instead, everyone use the same fucking cable or else you can't make your product in our countries. So that's what happened. Europe outlawed it, and Apple said, well, we have to abide by that, so get rid of the Lightning and get USB-C. So that's funny, right? That finally you can use a USB cord on your iPhone and also on all your other accessories, because apparently Apple already converted their iMacs and iPads and everything over to USB-C. This was the only holdout, okay? But hilariously, wait till you hear this. You are going to laugh your ass off. Are you ready for this? I can't even believe that, but then I did. After I read it a little more, I believed it. Okay, hold on. I got to find it. This is just tremendous bullshit. It's absolutely ridiculous, okay? So, they announced all this yesterday. First of all, if you didn't know, after the event ended, okay? And by the way, just to clarify, these games that they're claiming are going to run on the iPhone won't be 60 frames on all models, only on the $1,300 model. On the iPhone Pro, which is only like the middle range model, these games will only run at 30 frames per second. They're saying that they will run at full 60 frames on like the max, top of the line, expensive model. So even if you buy an iPhone, you're not guaranteed to get good game performance, which is hilarious. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not kidding you. I wish I was. Apple this morning announced the following. The USB-C to Lightning adapter. Do you know what this is? I know it's very blurry. I'll tell you what it is. It's an Apple proprietary adapter. Are you ready for this? That allows you to convert your existing Lightning cables to work with USB-C to charge your new iPhone. So let's say, for example, you already own this Lightning cable because you have an older iPhone. Well, I'm buying the new one. Well, now you buy a $30 adapter, okay, that you plug this cord into it, and at the end now is a USB-C dongle, and you could plug that into your new iPhone for $30. For $30. Why don't you just do this? Oh, look, I don't need this cable anymore. And buy a USB-C cable and plug it into the fucking thing you already have. Guess how much a USB-C cable costs? $5. Why the fuck would you buy a $30 dongle from Apple? You'd have to be an asshole. But that's the thing, is that these people who are so crazy for Apple products are assholes. They're that stupid. They will run out and say, oh, I need to get the name brand dongle, so let me go spend $30 on it instead of fucking spending $5 for a new cable. They will literally do that. It's like, why would you do that? Why are you so stupid? Right? I don't know. By the way, it looks like my white balance is off today, doesn't it? Looks like I need to be a little bit more pink. There we go. Yeah, I was going to say, I look way pale. I'm looking way too pale. Let's up the white balance a little bit there. There we go. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it was ridiculous. They announced this as if Apple isn't bad as well, right? It just blows my mind. Maguro-san says the new Cube plug that they're including with the Apple, the new iPhone is not USB, it's USB-C. So what you're saying is it's a two-ended USB-C cable. So why are they doing that? So what I mean, like, if you buy the new iPhone, you literally don't need to get anything new. All you need to do is replace your lightning cable with a USB-C cable in your existing adapter. It'll still work. It'll still plug in and charge your phone, okay? So what you're saying is they have a new Cube they're giving you with your iPhone, and you plug that into the wall, but it's a USB-C end, so you need a two-ended USB-C cable. Why? Why are they doing that? Everything Apple does is nonsensical. Everything is spend more money, please. Please just keep spending us more money and more money and more money, right? So this is absolutely ludicrously stupid. It really is. It's incredibly fucking dumb. Anyway, if you're interested in the iPhone, okay, you know, this is all this news. I don't really think it's too special. I don't think it's doing anything new that you need the new model, quite frankly. Like for me, my battery is absolutely terrible at this point. My battery barely lasts an hour, so I might be looking eventually to upgrade my phone, you know, when it's dying so much. But if you have the iPhone 14, I can't imagine why you would want the 15. There's like no improvements. Do you want to really have your $1,500, or excuse me, your $1,300 phone run games and then overheat and burn out, and now you're fucked, you have no phone? And everything else is the same, so... But anyway, what I was getting at was, yesterday, after they did their big announcement press conference, guess what happened? Their stock prices dropped. So I want you to think about that. You're supposed to have your big yearly annual event where you announce all your new products and everything looks good, and people disliked it so much, the value of your company actually declined after you announced your new wave of products. That's pretty bad. Right? That's really bad, actually. It's like basically people are directly telling you, hey, we are not interested in what you have to offer. You guys are completely off base. So, there you go. All right, guys, we got one more news story today, and this one is absolutely the doozy. This is the big one. This is the one everyone is talking about, okay? So, get ready. Prepare your butts. For those who don't know how game development works, okay, when you're developing a video game, you essentially need to use a game engine. And a game engine is a coding system and or a baseline of programming language you use to develop your video game. Some of the more popular engines out there are the Unreal Engine or Unity. These are ones that are commonly used for modern gameplay development. And we're talking companies that are big wigs that make ginormous games and companies that are little indie developers that make little games. They all use these codes. Now, some game developers write their own code, but you have to understand, when you have the RE engine, for example, that Capcom has been using for Resident Evil and Street Fighter 6, that's a humongous time and money investment. You're saying we're having a team develop our own coding engine to make our own game. You have to be a giant company to really finance an effort like that, and it could take years to really come together. But take a look at how successful the RE engine has been for Capcom. I mean, their games look absolutely outstanding, correct? So it can pay off if you have the time and money to invest in it. Many companies don't have that. They're just looking to make a game. They don't want to rewrite the wheel. If you have the wheel, why reinvent the wheel for your car? Right? Just license the wheel design and use it on your car. Correct? So, here's what is going on right now. Okay? The way that all of these engines work is basically you pay a fee to use the engine, and then you use that engine to develop your game. All right? And I don't exactly know the ins and outs of how the licensing has worked up to this point. I don't. You know, I'm not up to speed on it. I'm not a big game dev guy. But basically, game devs have felt that at least it's fair. All right? Something has happened in the last 24 hours that has got the entire game development community spooked and freaking out. Okay? Unity which is one of the biggest game development engines. In fact, I'm going to tell you in a moment some huge games that all use Unity, okay? Announced that they are going to change their licensing pricing structure come 2024. And the thing that's got everyone freaked out is that what they're saying they're going to do is something completely unprecedented in the gaming industry. They're going to begin charging a per game install fee for anyone who uses Unity. Now, there's criteria, like you need to ship or sell a certain amount of copies, and then the fee kicks in. But if you sell that certain amount of copies, then it's like retroactive on all the game installs that have happened before you hit that profit margin. It's very complex and confusing. I don't want to get into the semantics and the big details of it because likely none of us would understand it. All right? But basically, the reason the game devs are freaking out is because if you're going to get charged every single time a game gets installed, this could completely destroy certain business models. For example, let's say you're a game developer and you make a game and you want to get word of mouth out for your game, so you create a game demo. Guess what? The installation of your game demo is a game install, and you'd owe Unity money for each person who downloads the game demo for free. No one's paying you for the demo, but you're going to get charged by Unity because someone downloaded it. What about games that are for free? There are free games out there that certain game devs make. Now, good luck getting that on the Unity engine because you're going to have to pay them every time someone downloads and installs your game, right? Now, here's a big one. What about games on the Game Pass model? Now, here's the deal. No one knows how the Game Pass model works. These are exclusive contracts between Microsoft and game developers. So we actually don't know how much money a game developer makes when they list a game on Game Pass. But according to this new Unity licensing model, every single time someone downloads a Unity game off of a Game Pass style, they owe them money. So what about a game like, for example, earlier this year, you had a Hi-Fi Rush, right? That was a game with zero press, zero marketing. No one knew it existed. It became part of Game Pass. It got millions and millions of downloads. No one paid for it outright, but they got millions of downloads. How much money did the game developer actually make on each of those downloads? Did they have a per download profit, or was it a base thing that they got paid by Microsoft? Nobody knows, because those are private agreements. So what if it makes it unprofitable to be on Game Pass? That would completely make Microsoft freak out. Now, immediately, any game developed with Unity, we can't have on Game Pass anymore. You just cut the market out from under us, right? In addition to that, publishers, game publishers, might not want this model. For example, let's say you're a game publisher. You know, there's many game publishers out there. EA, Devolver Digital, Ubisoft, just to name a few. If someone comes to you and proposes a new game, hey, we got this hot new game idea. It's a unique shooter with these elements. It's really going to sell well. Okay, that's great. What engine does it run on? Unreal Engine. Okay, cool. What about you? Our game runs on Unity. Oh, wait a minute. Unity. Those fuckers are going to take a cut of every single download. We don't want to mess with that. They're going to take way more of a cut. You know what this reminds me of? This used to happen with credit cards, where certain vendors, like if you say you were a store and you wanted to accept credit card payments, well, every single credit card company actually takes like a fee for credit card transactions. I don't know if you guys know that. So if you go to a store and you use your credit card to pay, they don't actually make the full amount. They make a little bit less, and the credit card company takes a fee. Well, American Express credit card used to have ginormous fees for no reason. Like, what's the advantage of American Express over another credit card? Really nothing. They're pretty much the same. But for some reason, American Express used to have giant fees associated with their credit cards. So a lot of stores would say, we don't accept American Express. Don't even pull out your card here. We don't want it. They're rip-off artists. They're really trying to screw over stores. We don't want them. I mean, publishers could do the same thing. Think about it. You're a giant company. You want to finance the development of a game. You want to mass produce it. You want to promote it. You want to market it. And you want to make profit on the sales. But every sale you make less because Unity takes a cut, right? So, admittedly, this is a giant problem. And so here's the deal. All right, here's how people freaked out in the last 24 hours, okay? Let me go through this. First of all, what kind of games run on Unity? How about this? All right, hold on, because I have a list here. How about Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail? Free-to-play games that most people download for free and then decide if they're going to spend money on. So every time those games get downloaded, Unity has to get paid and the game developer loses money. What do you think about that, right? In addition, what about Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? How about Among Us or Fall Guys? Yes, those virally popular games that everyone played because of streaming, those also are Unity, and therefore every download of those games would be owed money to Unity. Do you see how this could become a humongous problem within the game dev community and why people are freaking out? So immediately, we actually had companies coming out and making posts like the following. Are you ready? This post is from Agro Crab, a game developer. Today, Unity, the engine we use to make our games, announced that they'll soon be taking a fee from developers for every copy of the game installed over a certain threshold, regardless of how that copy was obtained. Guess who has a somewhat highly anticipated game coming to Xbox Game Pass in 2024? That's right, it's us and a lot of other developers. That means another Crab's Treasure will be free to install for the 25 million Game Pass subscribers, and if a fraction of those users download our game, Unity could take a fee that puts an enormous dent in our income and threaten the sustainability of our business. And that's before we even think about sales on other platforms or pirated installs of our game, or even multiple installs by the same user. This decision puts us and countless other studios in a position where we might not be able to justify using Unity for future titles. If these changes aren't rolled back, we'll be heavily considering abandoning our wealth of Unity expertise that we've accumulated over the years and starting from scratch in a totally new engine, which is really something weird and we prefer not to do. On behalf of the dev community, we are calling on Unity to reverse the latest in a string of short-sighted decisions that seem to prioritize shareholders over their product's actual users. I fucking hate it here. They actually posted that on their social media. I fucking hate it here. Pretty crazy. Another game dev also overnight, I was looking at all these different ones posted up. This one by the name of Inner Sloth. They said, we use Unity to make our games. This would harm not only us, but fellow game studios of all budgets and sizes. If this goes through, we'd delay content and features that our players actually want to port our game elsewhere, as others are also now considering. But many developers won't have the time or means to do it the same. Stop it, WTF. Yeah. Pretty crazy. All right. So, the weird part about all of this is that now, because the whole gaming community is going crazy over it, all right, what's happening is there's all this misinformation and chaos, all right? Cult of the Lamb. We all know this game. It got virally popular last year, right? Actually did a social media post saying, hey, buy Cult of the Lamb now because we're just going to delete the whole game on January 1st. Now, they could be joking, but maybe they're serious. Maybe they won't sell it anymore after January 1st because they don't want to fucking pay Unity for every install, right? Some people, analyzing the situation said, there's no way Unity talked to a single developer before launching these changes. Just think of this, all right? Developing in Unity would now be a financial risk for anyone who uses a subscription service, anyone who sells charity bundles, like, those humble bundles that are very popular on Steam and other places. Those would basically go by the wayside if you're using Unity. Piracy, being a free-to-play, or you're going to change to a free-to-play model, malicious installs, or what if you're doing a game giveaway? That's right. Imagine your game is coming out and you want to go and give out codes to your game, but you got to pay money for every code now. So fuck that. No more game giveaways, right? Like, all of this would go away. Okay? Now, that's what I mean is there's confusion everywhere. All right? Yesterday, someone started inquiring with Unity directly. So they asked the question, what about game demo installs? Does this really include it or not? And basically what they said is they will estimate how many installs you have. There's kind of there's this much money per install, but not for piracy, not for bundles, but we'll estimate it ourselves meaning they can just guesstimate what they want to charge you. They're basically saying there's no real concrete criteria to determine game installs. So they'll just guess and then send you a bill. Oh, that sounds fair. Right? That sounds really fair, doesn't it? Now, after people started freaking out about this, all right, Unity started to respond differently. So, for example, this games journalist was actually, his name's Steven, started like pinging Unity about this, and they responded and said, Unity has regrouped. They're now saying only the initial installation of a game will trigger a fee. Demos mostly won't trigger fees. Devs will not be on the hook for Game Pass. Huh? So, do you see basically what the deal is here? This is another situation where we've got someone literally running a company involved with gaming who doesn't fucking understand gaming. Whoever this person in charge of Unity is a fucking buffoon. They don't get it. They don't understand that making an across-the-board arbitrary decision just to make us more money and please our shareholders could literally shake up the entire games industry in a crazy negative way, make everyone freak out, and maybe not want to use your product anymore. They're that stupid. It seems like in the games industry, we have tons of people in positions of power who don't understand the industry. They're morons. Yet, they're millionaires, billionaires, and they get to control these companies with an iron fist, no repercussions for their dumbass decisions, but no one can hold them to task for it, and, they just fuck people over. We've been seeing this across the board with game companies recently. How is it that these people get into these positions of power to begin with if they don't even understand the industry that they're working in? I hate to say it, it's called failing up. Seriously, it's called failing up. These people are already rich, and the more mistakes they make, they get rewarded for them. And then they get into more positions of power, and they get on a board of another company, and they get to more controlling. Like, what the fuck is going on in our world today with these businesses? How do we let the rich get dumber and richer, and everyone who understands the industry gets negatively affected by their dumbass decisions? It baffles me. How can you have someone in charge of this company who is so dumb? I mean, immediately, you know what I would do if I was a shareholder? I'd vote to oust the motherfucker. Like, you just made the dumbest decision we've ever heard. We want you out immediately. We don't want you ever making another decision regarding Unity because you're ruining our company. Overnight, you destroyed our image, and now game developers don't want to use it anymore, and we might lose a ton of money because of you. Fuck off. We're voting you out. Go on the street and go flip burgers while we fucking have someone intelligent come run the company, right? But does that happen? That's what should happen. I don't get it. I don't know. So let's see what happens, all right? Because I get the feeling what ended up happening is you're going to see a big flip. When you have this insane community movement towards negative, like, what are you, out of your mind? There is no way this would work, right? When that happens, okay? Basically, the way I see it is there's got to be a change and a reversal. And I almost guarantee you there will be because people have other options. It's not like you only have Unity. There are other options. Now, changing from one, game dev coding to another will be a big investment of time and money. And that's why a lot of these companies, like you heard, Aggro Crab, how sad they sounded. Like, we like using Unity. It's a great language, but I have to change our whole model based on this dumb decision, right? So I totally get it. I understand it, and I would hope that they will about face, but I would also hope that they stop putting this insane amount of power into the hands of fucking idiots. At one point, we have to say, at what point do we stop? And say, okay, morons, okay, the Yves Guillemot who runs Ubisoft is a complete dunce and doesn't understand the games industry. When do you get the fuck out of here and we get someone in position of power that will actually help the company and help game development and gamers as a whole? Instead of just an idiot who just wants to print money. You're a fucking moron. Get the fuck out. But these people it seems like they live in giant insulated situations where they never, ever are held accountable for their actions. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. That's what we know for now. It's a developing story. I almost guarantee you that come Friday or this weekend, there'll be more developments. The whole story's changed. Where they're going to, we went back on this or we went on this. You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully, there will be a positive change, and this whole situation will be remedied hopefully soon. But I feel really bad for any game development company using Unity right now because their entire future is uncertain based on this idiotic, policy change. And it wasn't like, oh, we're just proposing this. Like, no, this is our change for 2024. Here it is. We're announcing it right now. Wait, did you check with a single fucking person besides the idiots in the boardroom who are rubbing their hands like this with dollar signs in their eyes? You're fucking morons. Anyway, so that's the story there. Now, one other thing. We're not going to do this today because we're already running out of time. I have to do shout outs and we're going to have Q&A. This week coming up, all right, we're going to do something new. What I'm going to do every month, all right, I'm going to do something interesting that you guys have proposed. I think this would work really well, okay? We are going to do a thread, all right? And this thread, by the way, I want to test something. Hold on a second. Why is this not working? What the hell? Do I look all right? Because it looks like the coloring is off. Does it not? Does it not look like it's like too bright in here? And I wonder why it looks that way. Because I didn't change anything. What is it? Dude, this is not working. What is going on? Where is the, oh, wait a minute. Where is the adapter for it? Right here. Oh. The adapter was blocked. That's why it wasn't working. Now it works. It looks a bit pale. Yeah, I don't know what changed. Because I didn't change the settings of anything. But it does look a bit pale. I agree with you. So hold on a second here. I want to fix this. I want to fix this before we continue. I don't want it to look bad. But I agree with you. The camera definitely looks pale. Like, I usually have way more color. So I don't know what's going on. Why the fuck did it put the controls on the other screen? Oh, my God. All right, hold on a second. So, auto exposure, but I turned off autofocus. All of this is correct. Saturation. Maybe it's low saturation for some reason. Auto saturate? No, see, it doesn't do auto saturate. Is the white balance off? Let's see. Nah, see now, yeah, that's not right. It might be saturation actually. So hold on. It is saturation. See that? I put up the saturation and now it looks better. Now it looks better. I don't know what happened. I did have to restart my computer. Not today, but yesterday. Well, the day before. Basically, the podcast corrupted. And so the podcast didn't go live right away. I had to edit it out of the stream. But it looks like the saturation screwed up. Now it seems better, right? That looks much better. Yeah. Sorry about that. It looked like that for like a day. I didn't even realize. Hopefully it looks better now. And if it looks worse, let me know. I'll try to adjust it. I can fix it. Anyway. Okay. So, there's a new thing we're going to start doing. All right? It was an idea. I got to give the idea to Overpowered Boone because he came up with this idea. Once a month, I'm going to post up a thread on the community tab of DSPGaming and on the community tab of DSP Reacts. And this thread will be kind of posted there and everyone can post up. And what the thread's going to be is a user feedback thread. It's going to be, I want your feedback for improvement. What things would you like to see coming to my channels for content, right? So on this channel, obviously, what could you suggest for improvement here? On the React channel, the suggestions will probably be completely different. What kind of React stuff would you like to see in the future, right? One of the things we discussed was possibly doing more long-form React content or longer-form React content once a month. Like a set day where I do like half an hour React videos rather than just a clip show that I do once a week, something like that. And I'd also like to see suggestions here. Also, what kind of things would you like to see me react to? For example, coming up in October, I want to react to horror movies. I want to do at least one horror movie a week. And I was looking and I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I could do, for example, maybe the new Scream movies. I haven't seen Scream 5 or 6. I also didn't see the new Halloween reboot trilogy, which not really reboot. It's like the ending trilogy, right? Like supposed to be the finale to the Halloween series. Those would probably be good movies to watch and do like reviews of. But do you have any other suggestions? Are there any other horror movies that have come out like in the last several years that maybe you think would be interesting for me to watch that I haven't seen and review? So what I think I would like to do is post up threads once a month, and you guys post up your feedback in said threads, all right? And then what we can do is at the end of every month, we actually look at those threads on a podcast like today, and we go through and get your suggestion. We can read through them and see the best ones. Now, already someone said, well, how will that not be abused by trolls? Because what you don't realize, it's not open posting. It's just like comments on my videos. All comments get put into a queue, and I have to manually review and approve them. So as they come in, if some asshole has an insult, I just fucking block the idiot, and then they can never comment again. It's that simple. So you won't see it flooded with idiots. They could try, and literally 0 comments of theirs will ever be seen by any human. It'll all be deleted, and they'll be blocked. So it's the same as leaving comments on my videos right now. It's a good system. It works. My video comments work right now, and so would this, okay? So, I was going to do it today, but it's already 12:15, and we got to get to shout-outs and all this. So what I would say is I'm going to keep this as an idea, and probably later on in the week. I think what we will do later on in the week is we will do this idea and post it up on a day when we have less to talk about. Today we had insane amounts of game news. So when it's a slower day, we'll post it up. We'll get people suggesting. At the end of this month, we'll review it once. And then October will be the first month where we actually do it full-fledged, where it's like the entire month of suggestions, and then we'll review them all at the end of the month. Okay? So, great suggestion. Thank you to Overpowered Boon. This adjourns. Oops. This I got to get used to clicking the right thing. This adjourns DSP game news for today. Thanks for listening. I hope you found it informative. We now have to get to shout-outs. Okay? So, first of all, shout out to Tractor D, who gifted 5 memberships earlier. They went to Low Tire Satan 666, Knifing Around, Hopping Rabbit, Max W, and Raziel. Congratulations to the 5 of you. And with those 5 memberships, we should be up to 643. I don't know if we are. I have to check that later. But we should be up to that technically, as long as we didn't lose any during the podcast. Okay? All right. Continuing on, let's get to tips. So our first tip of the day. Snow Carl tipped $1 and is asking about, with my financial situation improving, will I put money into a retirement fund? Okay? Snow Carl, here's the deal. What I do is my own business, and you know that. And you know I'm not going to give you specific details. All right? The good news is, yes, things have been a little better. And, you know, I'm in a situation where, yeah, every once in a while there's a couple dollars I can put some to the side or whatever. That's a good thing. But it's not anyone's public discussion or whatever what I do with my money. Therefore, mind your own business. But thank you for the $1 tip. Okay. I got another $1 tip. Listen to this. Drake is the type of guy to slap someone in the face after a world-threatening adventure and then say that's for almost getting us all killed, and then kiss him and say that's for saving my life. Wow. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But thank you for the $1 tip regardless. I don't even know if you're talking about the musician Drake or Nathan Drake or Drake's Cakes. You know Drake's Cakes? It's the confection, like baking company. Anyway, let's continue. I received a $2 tip from Nico, who says, hello, Phil. Hello, Nico. It's good to have you here today. I don't know how often you've been around. I don't think you've been chatting much in the chat if you have been around, but welcome back if you're just coming back for the first time in a while. I welcome you back, and thank you for the support. I got a $1 tip from Snow Carl talking about romance options in Starfield. I don't know about them. I'm not doing them. I don't really care about them. Let's be honest. I'm 20 hours in. I'm not even at a point in the game where it would even be a consideration. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that to do any kind of romancing in a game like this, you'd have to have a companion who you spent a ton of time with, done tons of conversations with, probably done companion questing with. I haven't done any of that, right? In fact, at the end of yesterday's stream, I finally got Barrett to be my follower, and so Barrett will actually be following me along with all my questing today, and we'll see how that goes. But before then, it was Lynn, and Lynn wasn't doing anything. We had one conversation with Lynn about her past. Since then, she hasn't said a word. She doesn't talk at all. She's completely silent. Now, Sarah was the opposite. Sarah was chatty as shit, but then she got pissed at me at one point and wouldn't talk to me. I think now she's okay, but I never went back to having her as my follower. So I don't really know how it works, nor am I really caring so much about it. It's not that big of a concern. Okay. Romance Barrett, I should do that. All right, and then lastly, for now anyway, I got a $5 tip from Canadian Kirk. So far, the biggest tip of the day. Let's get that up on the leaderboard. What's going on here? There we go. What is going on here? What is this pop-up here? Hold on. What the hell is this? Oh, the settings are still open over here? Get the fuck out of here. What is this dumb shit? I closed this already. Close. Stupid thing. Okay. Do I still look alright? Yes, I still look human. I still have color to me, thankfully. Okay. So, Canadian Kirk says, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, the Google CEO, the ChatGPT CEO are all meeting in Washington to discuss potential dangers of AI. What do you think of it? Do you think a Terminator scenario is plausible? I think it's already here. I think that Elon Musk actually is AI. People just don't realize it yet. I mean, there's no way that guy's human. You listen to how he talks and what he says and the dumb shit he does. There's no way he's a human. He's definitely like a synth or something like that. Maybe he's sent back from the future to ruin mankind. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, he's certainly ruined X, you know, which used to be called Twitter. So, all right, thank you for the tip. All right, so that's what we got so far. We got a little bit of extra time. If anyone would like to ask me a question, tag me in the chat. We got a little bit extra time. If any other contributions hit, I will shout those out as well. All right. Dismay says, what do you think about FromSoft toning down bosses in Armored Core? Again, I don't know about it. People started telling me about this the other day. They claimed that when I got to the Ibis boss fight, which was the Chapter 4 boss, that had been significantly toned down. And I'm like, this game hasn't even been out for like 3 weeks yet. So why would they have toned it down already? Was it really that big of a deal, that big of a problem, that people were complaining that the boss was that tough? I don't know. Like, for example, Baltius, okay? Now listen, Baltius is no cakewalk. We all know that. He's tough. And he's essentially the first kind of, like, difficulty check in the game, I would say. Because he basically makes sure that you understand how to play the game, that you're using different loadouts. For example, he's the first boss that really would need you to use plasma weapons. Everything else up to that point, plasma really didn't do anything, and he's the first one that uses them, or needs them, because he has a plasma shield. But even Balti, it took me about an hour to beat. I didn't have a problem with that. Like, you know, it takes me a little over an hour. I'm learning some new game mechanics. It's the first boss where I'm actively dodging stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm learning. This is interesting, you know. It's not that bad. I've definitely had similar or way worse experience in FromSoft games. So I was okay with that. And that was apparently before they patched anything and made anything easier. So now apparently I get to Ibis, which is the 4th chapter final boss, and it's tough, don't get me wrong. This thing's hitting me for tons of damage and everything, and it actually has multiple forms, which freaked me out. But I beat it on the first try. And everyone's like, wow, that's amazing. You know, it's crazy. I wasn't able to beat it on the first try, but I guess what people are saying is they toned it down, right? You know, I don't know. How do I feel about that? Again, I guess you compared that with Elden Ring. When I was playing Elden Ring last year, I was taking my time. I was playing it at a pace where I was exploring the whole world. I was doing all this stuff. And by the time I got to Radahn, who was supposed to be supposedly the hardest boss at that point besides the endgame bosses, that I beat him on the first try, right? Or actually it wasn't. It was like the 3rd or 4th try, right? But it wasn't like, oh my god, jaw-droppingly difficult. All I did is I rode around, I summoned all the people to kind of distract him, and I rode in and I beat him up, and it only took a couple of tries and I beat him. It wasn't a big deal, right? And I was like, I really don't understand what the deal is here in regards to this, why people were so freaking out about this boss. And then come to find out, oh, well, they nerfed him. He was way harder before. So now I'm in a situation where I never really fought the real Radahn, right? Now, apparently they repatched Radahn to be tougher again, because people complained he was too easy. So then in my magic run, which I did earlier this year, I got to Radahn and I spanked him. I literally like spanked the shit out of him with my magic build. It was just like magic, 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 dead. He couldn't do anything. So again, you know, I don't know here's the deal. I come from a time period when games were not actively patched. You have to understand that when a game came out in the 90s, right? That was the game forever. If a fighting game came out and there was a glitch or a piece of unbalanced gameplay, you just had to deal with it. You know, fighting games didn't get rebalanced patches. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, half the cast sucks. They're worthless because the other half of the cast is way overpowered. Do you think if it were a modern day, they would have patched that game within 2 weeks and made the cast rebalanced so now a lot more of them are viable? Maybe they would have, you know? I don't know. When it comes to a single player experience, you would think that you would want everyone to have an equivalent experience, right? So does it make sense to be patching the game only a week or two into its life cycle? Unless it's the way I see it, unless there's like a game crippling bug, right? Let's say there is. Let's say that there's a horrible game crippling bug and a lot of people are having a rough time. Sure, patch your game and fix it. But should there be difficulty and balance patches within the first couple of weeks? I don't think so. I say let it roll a few months maybe. See what the general consensus of the community is. But I think what it is, a lot of game companies end up sadly getting a little desperate. Like maybe what happened was Armored Core 6 didn't sell as well as they had hoped. They thought it was going to sell better, and it wasn't selling so well. And when they look at user feedback, everyone was like, oh my god, Baltius, I can't beat him. And I'm rage quitting the game. And, you know, I think what happened really, here's what really happened, okay? Everyone freaks out for FromSoft games. Why? Because they're known to be difficult games. And when a content creator or streamer buys one of these or gets it for free and plays it, typically there's that factor of rage and fail. And the viewers are watching to see that factor of rage and fail, okay? When you play Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Sekiro or Elden Ring, you've got a certain level of expectation of what the game's going to be, right? And a certain level of kind of enjoyment based on that. With Elden Ring, it made the game a little easier. So more people had accessibility to play the FromSoft formula because of things like the Ash summons and things like that, right? So because of that, a lot of people were, oh, that's cool. You know, now more people can play and enjoy. But then FromSoft makes Armored Core 6. And Armored Core 6 is very different. It is. It's just, it's a different kind of game. It doesn't play anything like typical Soulsborne games. It's got some elements of that, but there's a good reason why they put the checkpoint system into the game. Because they realized if you didn't have checkpoints, you had to do every stage from the beginning. If you failed, no one would want to play this game. Okay? So, they, you know, knowing that, they went into it hoping that there would be a widespread adoption of the game. I don't think that happened. I think what happened is a lot of people got the game based on it being FromSoft or got it for free and then went to play it like, oh, it's kind of like, it's just a mech game. You're going shooting things. It's action-y. You know, it's nothing like the other formula of Soulsborne. And I think a lot of viewing audiences didn't like it as much. Okay? So what I think happened was you had a group of staged rage quits. You had people who were like, oh, well, it's just not as good and it's too hard. And so they purposefully kind of like slammed the game to stop playing it because they realized if they rage quit or yelled about the game to stop playing it, that would get more attention from their audience than if they actually kept playing it. Like they felt like, oh, I'm not getting the kind of viewership or support or feedback that I get when I play a Soulsborne game playing Armored Core 6. So allow me to kind of like find a way to dip out of it and then go do other stuff, right? So what ended up happening was people started making complaints. Oh, Baltius is too hard. Oh, Ibis is just too hard and blah, blah. So what happened is FromSoft like, oh shit, well, attention on our game is low. Look, no one's streaming it anymore. I mean, compared to like a FromSoft game of a Soulsborne's get streamed for weeks and weeks and get lots of popularity based on them. And this one particularly is like not getting that. Why not? What's the difference here? And so they're listening to community feedback. Well, maybe if we make this tweak, maybe if we do this. And I think that's a slippery slope because you don't want to be changing your game constantly based on people saying it's too hard if that was what you were intending. You know what I mean? Would they have done the same thing with Elden Ring? If they didn't have the Ash summons in Elden Ring, right? And that mechanic didn't exist to handhold people and get through the game, and people got stuck at, I don't know, what would they have gotten stuck at without Ash summons? I don't even know, like a certain boss. What if in the capital they couldn't beat the capital city, right? What did they say? Well, now we have to nerf the whole capital city. Let's just do that, and then people can get past that point, and hopefully more people will stream and play our game, and we'll get more sales. I don't know. I don't really think it's a good message to send. Right? Again, if it was broken, if it was actually designed incredibly poorly to the point where it wasn't fun to play and succeed at, then that's one thing. But I think that's part of the formula of FromSoft games, is the feeling of accomplishment you get when you're fighting a tough boss and you beat it finally after an hour or 2 hours of fail, and you finally get it right. Yes, I did it. And you got that feeling of accomplishment, you can move on. You know what I mean? So I don't really agree with it. I would have liked to probably play Armored Core 6 with no nerfs. If it really is true that the Ibis boss at the end of the game was easier, that's unfortunate. Because you saw I kind of steamrolled through the end of the game, right? I really did. I really didn't have much issue with the end of the game, and maybe that's because they nerfed it. I don't know. When you got people saying that I did better than most other people, that's kind of ridiculous. Why did I do better than most people who played the game? It's weird. It's my first Armored Core game. How is that the case? I don't know. So, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with nerfing these kind of single-player games like this fast. Maybe you waited a couple of months and there was a consensus of the community, man, this thing's broken, fix it. But this just seems like it's another Radon situation, right? And I don't know if I like that. I don't know why FromSoft is doing this. It's a little weird to me. Okay, I received a $2 tip from Super Snow Carl Turbo HD Remix. I'm better than the original Snow Carl. I've got more content in my version and balance updates. Well, there you go. It's just a fact, right? It's just factual. Thank you for that. Sorry, Snow Carl, you're outdated. You're the old model. You're obsolete. We have a new Snow Carl Super Turbo HD Remix stepping up to the plate to take over. Sorry about that. Nico says, this was also my first Armored Core, and I thought that it was very easy. Yeah, it just seemed like if you just naturally kept buying the new stuff the game offered you, you would excel at the game. If you stuck with that same build from the beginning of the game, you'd probably get your ass handed to you. But if you're built, okay, I start with the legs, then I go with a more maneuverable build. Now I've got better guns. Now I go with better shoulder cannons. Oh, now I'm on the hovering tetrapod. Now I change out this body type. Oh, now I go to the tank style. Now I do this. If you just kept adapting as it came available, you basically just, you coast through. There's nothing too challenging there, right? Well, I played Persona 3 Reloaded. I've already answered this. If it's a full redesign of the game from the ground up, I would consider it. I'm certainly not in any rush to play it, because I've already played the whole original, but maybe I would play it in the future. If it's still outdated mechanics and it's very annoying, grindy, and just kind of time-wasty like the original game, I'm not playing it again. I've already suffered through that once. I'm not doing it again. Okay? Abdullah says, I don't really like this new assist gameplay in Mortal Kombat 1. Let's see how it works out when it releases. Yeah, we'll see. Will the cameos actually even be a part of the story? That's an interesting question. Because the cameos are definitely a key part of the multiplayer. But do the cameos, how do they factor into the story? How do they factor into invasion mode, right? Like, I wonder, how do any of these things factor in, right? So there you go. King Be Cruel says, for someone who didn't watch One Piece episodes or manga, would I enjoy One Piece Odyssey? Oh, man. Let me put it this way. If you enjoy turn-based RPGs, if you like anime graphics, like anime style, drawing, and that experience, okay, you'll probably like it, but you're going to get lost. Even me, like, I know some of One Piece, but not all of it. They did an okay job, but even me, I was a little confused, and I need my stream audience to kind of explain certain aspects of the story to be more full-fledged in depth, because even I didn't get some of it. I'm not saying you wouldn't like it. You have to really like turn-based RPGs. By the way, there's some grindy parts in there that take a long time to get through, and their pacing is not great. There's some parts of the game that are way long, and other parts that are way faster. The whole first half of the game, which is only like 2 different world story parts, is way drawn out, and then the rest of the game is kind of sped through. So you have to understand that. I would say it's not terrible, but it's certainly not the best turn-based JRPG I've played. It's kind of in the middle for me. if you're a fan of One Piece, you're gonna like it more because it's kind of fan service. I don't know necessarily if it's a sell just because you like JRPGs though. There's definitely better games out there. So, okay. Simon says, tried the game Gris. A short game, incredible. I think it needs to be experienced by everyone. I don't even know what that is. Gris? The name sounds familiar, but I don't know what that is. Have I ever smoked a cigarette? No. I know exactly what they smell like and would taste like because I lived in a house where my mom chain smoked when I was a kid, and I hate it. I hate cigarette smoke. I can't stand it. I really can't. Other smoke, like cigar smoke, clove smoke, I can deal with that. I can't stand cigarette smoke. It's like I have a strong aversion to it because I grew up in a household where it was constant. By the way, did you notice the color just changed? You want to know why? Because the sun. Outside, there was really bright sun that was resonating through the blinds, and it was actually changing the color scheme here as well. But now that sun kind of went behind the clouds, now I look normal color again. You notice that? That's what that was, too. I don't think I can change the blinds any further, though. I think they're as closed as they can be. Yeah, that's it. They can't be closed any further. So the blinds should be a little better soon. Supposedly this coming weekend, we have our final hot days. This coming weekend, we're supposed to have a day that's 80 degrees. But then after that, our temperatures dip down, supposedly to the 70s. And as long as it stays cool, I can take the air conditioners out of the window. But I can't do it until we're guaranteed to have weather that's not 80 plus degrees. If it's 80 plus degrees, I need to have the air conditioner on. If I don't, I will be swelteringly hot in here. It just sucks because usually by this time of year, I could take the air conditioner out of the window. And I still can't because we got 80-degree weather scheduled for this weekend. It's like, dude, when is it going to end? We're about to start fall. Fall starts in a week. When will the summer weather end here? It's ridiculous. It's fucking Washington State where we're supposed to have moderate weather and we still have summer temperatures. This fucking global warming is bullshit. I've had enough. I've never smoked a hookah. I don't know anything about it. Hello, X-Shooter. How are you today? Welcome. Oh, here comes the sun again. Here comes the bright sun again. It's ridiculous. What the fuck? We're supposed to be having clouds, rain, cooler temps. We're supposed to have leaves starting to change, pumpkins, gourds, scarecrows, things for the fall. And instead, we've got 80-something degree weather, hot summer weather. No, I didn't see any alien corpses presented in a Mexican court. What the hell does that even mean? Simon says, yes, I'm in Oregon. Same deal here. Can't wait for fall to start. Me too. No, I do not walk on the roof of my building. Ugh. Why would I do that? Yes, definitely. I mean, it's climate change. For sure. It is climate change that's causing this. 2 years ago, we had the hottest day on record, 111 degrees Fahrenheit. Ever recorded here. Our asphalt was melting because it was so hot. And then this year, we had the most string of hot days. We had more days over 90 degrees Fahrenheit this summer than ever recorded. And the summers are lasting longer and longer now. So global warming is real. You can't be denied. All the temperatures are changing. Now, the cause behind it can be argued, but global warming is happening. No, I never left a cinema because the movie was so bad. I did not do that. Do I like greasy French fries? Not particularly. The only French fries that I think taste a little bit good, greasy, are the ones from Five Guys because they use peanut oil. So those fries taste really, really good because of the special oil they use to fry them. Outside of that, I prefer a crispy French fry because greasy French fries end up being more soggy and yucky. I don't like that. I like a more crispy French fry. Am I excited for Spider-Man 2? Cool. You know Spider-Man 2 is going to be solid. Even if it's not groundbreakingly amazing, you still know it's going to be a solid outing. You know the game is going to be fun, right? That's the cool thing about Spider-Man is you can kind of depend on it to be good. And that's always a good thing, to have a dependability factor to a video game, right? So that's, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm not necessarily thinking it's like going to be like, oh my God, my favorite game of the year, but I know it's going to be good. So yeah, it's going to be great. I never had spicy mayo with French fries. No, I have not. How long could it take for Unity to reverse their asinine decision? 2 hours. Like, seriously, they could just undo it, because it's all, you know it, it's a boardroom full of greedy fucks. And that's all it is. It's a boardroom full of greedy fucks. And all it takes is a vote of the investors, or one of them to say, oh, that's it, we're going to lose all our market share because we're stupid, and then they just change their decision. This is not a big deal. It easily can be reversed, because it's a policy that was going to go into effect like next year. They could easily change it. See, now I look like I think I have too much color to my face, right? I do. It looks like now I'm oversaturated. But you see, this is what happens. This is what happens now, because the lighting outside keeps changing, and as the sun goes in front and behind the cloud, now I look like I need less color. See that? Now I look better. So now I took away some of the color, and now I think I look more human. But now, if the sun comes out fully outside, now I'll look pale again. So there's not much I can do about this. Okay. It's all good, Phaser. I understand you don't want Starfield spoilers. Thanks for at least stopping by. Okay. Anything else, guys, or are we good? Then we covered everyone's questions here. Did I see the FDA has ruled phenylephrine, a popular ingredient in over-the-counter allergy and cold medicines, is ineffective and they may pull it? No, I did not see that. I'm not aware of using any medicine that has that. Phenylephrine. Phenylephrine. That doesn't even ring a bell to me. Phenylephrine? Do I keep an eye out for Bigfoot in Washington? He lives with me in the other room. I told you this. He lives here in the house. He's my tenant. Bigfoot. He comes by whenever he wants. Sudafed and Benadryl both have it. Oh, really? I don't really use those. What's up, Jade? Good to see you. He says he's playing Mortal Kombat 11 to prepare for MK1 this Friday. He's going to stop by just to say hi. Sounds good. Good to see you. All right. I've never seen the anime Baki. No, not all moves in fighting games are random. I'm not here to explain fighting game theory to you, though. On the Level 1 podcast. Okay. I think we're good for today. I think we covered a lot of stuff. I think it's time to end the show and get ready. Jump back into Starfield. Like I said, my goal for today is to try to finish the Freestar Collective. See what reward I get and then move on from there. All right, guys. Thank you so very much. I hope that you enjoyed the show. It was a good one. Lots of news. And I'm very interested to see what will happen as a result of today's gaming news. We got a few interesting stories there, correct? So thank you for watching the Level 1 podcast. I hope you have a good day off tomorrow for my content. I hope you'll join me for Mortal Friday, this coming Friday. It's going to be a very exciting day of Mortal Kombat coverage. And have a good one. Stay safe. See you then. Peace out.